Expert locusts.
They're coloured like locusts.
You're missing a memory. Yeah.
Yeah, no. Have you watched Bug's Life recently?
No, not in years.
Might be worth watching again because I love that film.
I'll add it to the list.
It's very funny, but also, yeah, he was a seriously creepy villain throughout my childhood because he's very sinister. Well, he's not very sinister. He's a very actually extremely one-dimensional villain, but done very well.
Okay.
Like he's just one of those. I often say like the villains. Oh, hold on a sec. Crap in my eye.
Little dodo.
Oh no, I hadn't noticed the dodo in the wheel. God, that's sad. This game's fucked up. Why do you make me play this?
Because the game's definitely against corporations.
Yeah, I can see that at least. But yeah, like I'm often saying that the villains that I tend to be villains that can be whose motivations can be explained in an I only wished sense.
Yeah.
But sometimes there's nothing wrong with a one-dimensional villain done well, as in that is a villain who's just evil, and it can be done well.
Okay.
And it's like Hopper in The Bug's Life is just exploitative. That's his thing. If he is just lazy, therefore he gets the ant to do all his work for him so he can fuck around all the time and then get the food that the ants gather. It's the classic Aesop-style fable.
I can see that. But as a general rule, obviously up until quite recently, if Kevin Spacey was in something, I was willing to give it a go even if I thought he sounded
What was
dreadful.
that dirty cop thing you made me watch with him in? That was good.
LA Confidential.
Yeah, I liked him in that. He was very good.
He was
Not everyone's
phenomenal in
quite
that.
good in that.
Yeah. I can't think of anyone who was poor in that role.
Yeah, me neither.
So.
Oh, there's one up there. That's it. Shut up.
Ah.
I think I've been doing really well for playing without
You have.
really thinking about the game for the last 20 minutes. It's what I like about doing these Let's Watch ones, especially with you, and this is proving a good game for it, is that they do allow a lot of scope for off-topic discussion.
Exactly.
And even after years of working them, some of the other gentlemen, boy, are not quite so good at the old off-topic stuff, whereas you and I can do it quite well. Oh, Engine Room. That sounds like a happy place.
It's going to be wonderful. There are going to be dodos roaming free.
Oh.
And
Free for the sailors to eat them.
Well, yeah. And
sorry, I know
happy.
the concept of dodos makes you sad.
It really does.
Okay. Just checking what they were.
Nowhere near enough.
Only 100 off for the... Oh, is it March Hare or whatever the fuck he's called?
Mm-hmm.
Is it March Hare? The
yeah.
fucked up rabbit. I think it's March Hare, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Fun fact about hares. So you heard of March Madness with hares?
Yes.
Where they go into mating mode and they all start fighting each other like crazy.
Yeah.
That is held up in my field, behavioral ecology, as a classic example of everyone had their their assumptions which were completely wrong. We assumed for years they all seemed to be fighting each other, so we assumed it was males fighting each other over females. Most of what's going on when you actually look at individuals in March Madness is males being very rowdy and trying to mate with females, and females beating the shit out of them to tell them to fuck off. And for years we just assumed, oh, this must be males fighting over females. And it's just completely wrong. And I love that every time I think about it.
That does make me very happy. I did not know that.
It's one of the best examples for that in animal behavior of just don't take your assumptions from even one species and apply them to another, even if it's as simple stuff as, yeah, males fight over females is pretty standard throughout the mammal world, but not always the case. Sometimes females are the choosy one. Well, I mean, usually, I suppose males fighting means females are the choosy ones, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, sometimes females fight back.
Yeah. And so it's cool to see examples of when it's actually, no, your assumptions are just wrong here.
What's that phrase of the scientists who are observing this primate? Primate
is a Pokemon.
That's the one. This primate social dynamic, and male scientists see it as a select few male primates who keep a harem of females to mate with and to do what they wish, whereas women looking at it see it's a matriarchy with a few breeding males.
That's not fair. Got me on the upstroke. Sorry, I've been listening.
That's fine. Yeah, the matriarchy with a few breeding males, which they keep around purely for reproduction. And then they rule the society, and it's, you know, governed by then who the reproducing males are. And it's just like...
Yeah. Like, behaviour is up there with, like, human history of something where you have to be really aware of...
Who's telling it.
Yeah, and your own biases in that sense, that, like, when you look at, like, Victorian accounts of ancient civilizations versus, like, modern ones and stuff like that, you've got to really think about whose perspective is being put on that, and animal behaviour is potentially really susceptible to that as well.
Yeah.
That it can just be... People can just make assumptions really badly, which then colour what appears to be, other than that, an objective observation, but it's not.
Yeah.
Because even observations are coloured by the background of the observer.
Yes.
And it's a skill to be learnt to not do that, basically. Oh, bloody hell.
It's like when we're reading through history, and even now if we find a text that is original 200, 500 years ago, and we're trying to read through it, and we often want to say things like, oh, they're clearly, you know, a homosexual couple because they do X and Y, or they're clearly, you know, hiding this kind of, you know, they're hiding an affair with this kind of language. It's like, actually, we have no idea what it was like to grow up in those times.
Yeah,
and
that stuff may have just been, okay, like, Greeks are a classic example of that, when even just, like, trying to apply our own current concepts of sexuality to ancient Greeks, they just didn't really have it.
Yeah.
Everyone was basically just bi.
Yeah, which I think we still kind of are, but that's beside the point.
Openly bi, then,
yeah.
let's say.
But, yeah, when we read, like, Flapper diaries, and they talk about...
Remind me when Flapper was?
1920s.
Cool.
And these you know, loose women would stay up all night making love. And what they mean is going out dancing and maybe having a kiss.
Yeah.
And that was making love in that time, in that language.
Well,
and that's like the example that was given to me, and that's what, 70,
Did you
80 years ago?
see that thing / watch the programme about Gentleman Jack? Does that mean anything to you?
No, but I've read the article about it because I was reading something else about the person who that was inspired by.
Yeah, well, I mean, she was called Gentleman Jack in real time. She was basically this, by all accounts, relatively butch lady who kept very detailed diaries of her lesbian encounters during the Victorian era, to the point where she was like, no, I'm going to marry her and we'll run an estate together and stuff like that.
Yes.
And it's remarkable that so much of that only survived because it was in a code that was only broken in the 40s.
No, it was broken by her...
oh, it was broken by her, like, grandson? Not grandson,
like
but, like, a brother's grandson, because I don't think she ever married, or stuff like that. But the code was broken, but then he was like, oh, I can't publicise this because it'll bring shame on the family, but then was...
Oh, no, his friend said, you have to burn those diaries now. If that ever got out, that would be the shame of a lifetime. And he decided not to listen to his friend, but also didn't publish.
Yeah, but then they were relatively recently, like, rediscovered.
Yes.
Basically from scratch.
Which, it's lovely in theory, and do you know what? To have a really... Because it's a very frank... Have you read some of the excerpts?
Yeah, loveliness aside, it's really nice. It's just good to have that level of primary historical...
material of someone being very honest about what she enjoyed of sex. Especially sex with women, because we don't get that so much, because we tend to romanticize it. But I must say...
Oh, I thought I'd made that.
Gentleman Jack, was an insult, so it bothers me personally that we use it as her name, but, you know, I accept it, whatever. The suffragettes, it was a insult.
As in, what, suffragette? Well, no, suffrage is also a word for voting.
Yes.
The one, see, I've heard this occasionally said recently is to use the word suffragist instead.
I can see that.
Because suffragette is deliberately, like, diminutive.
Yeah.
It in a linguistic sense.
Yes.
It, like, is the little women doing their thing.
Yes.
And that you should more accurately use the term suffragist for just someone who advocates for voting rights.
Yes.
Which, I can see that.
I can. But, so calling her Gentleman Jack does bother me, but I can get over that quite quickly. But also, by all accounts, she was a shit human being.
Yeah. She was very much like she'd fall for people, and she was the kind of person who liked people to like her.
And she had numerous affairs,
speaking,
and she did lots of... She was a very... Yeah.
Morally dubious character.
Morally dubious human being. And that's fine. You know, I'm not like, oh no, people have to be perfect, blah, blah, blah. So I'm not in any way sad that they're making it. I am glad that record survived, but it does sadden me somewhat that people are like, oh, you know, she's so iconic. It's like, No. Okay. Do you
I mean,
know
she's
what?
iconic as the most well-studied, or well understood lesbian of that era.
Lesbian, eh?
What did I say? I said
said
lesbian.
lesbian.
Yeah, I did say lesbian. You were quite right.
So that's my complex view on Gentleman Jack.
I can see that.
That's not genuinely. I would very much be happy to watch it. Just
Yeah, it might be interesting. It might be worth a watch. I think I probably will anyway.
the woman playing her is fucking phenomenal as well.
Oh, it's someone I knew. I can't remember who.
Couldn't tell you her name, but again, she's someone I've never seen her in anything bad yet, and she's a good actress.
Fair. Well, there's the next question.
See, I remember being told from a very young age, no, actor is completely gender neutral, and actress is also gender neutral, but actress
Yeah,
is
gender neutral but diminutive.
Well, not diminutive, but it's the certain kind of theatre, dramatic, silly acting.
Okay.
And it's like, do you know what? You could have plenty of serious male acting people who would describe themselves as actresses because of what they go for. And the more I think about it, the more that actually is quite annoying. So yeah. It's just one of those awkward things where you have to accept what people want to do. Oh, Hatter's getting his limbs back.
I like how he's like in the straitjacket.
Do you?
Yeah, it fits with the aesthetic they're going for.
The crazy.
I don't remember
story.
resting his hat either.
Finish my work and you're complete, Hatter. Now, what about this damnable train?
I feel like a new man, or whatever I am. I feel like an unsprung spring, like an uncorroded gear, like an untarnished bit of metal that sticks in your eye.
Answer me, Hatter. I'm suffering, and changes here are a cause, or they're a reflection, or the effect. What's going on? What are the new rules?
The law is just a whisper away home to wonder who knows how to measure rules with a ruler. Cruel rules.
Idiot.
That's a good
Left you
line.
in bits.
Cruel
The
rules.
least you can do is help me discover what's going on.
See, he's helping you.
So you must be getting towards the end of this area now.
Yes, we're not far away.
It feels not a bad thing, but I feel like it has been quite long.
It definitely feels longer than I remember it being.
Fair.
Solutions are toxic.
These cockpits will be our macadam, our road into assemblage. Courage, Alice. I'll get this door open.
He's got a hell of a jump on him, even
Yes, he
compared to
does.
us.
He's a Linny sod. Also,
He is. The round clockwork bomb has multiple benefits. It will divide enemies and damage them when detonated. That's quite handy actually to potentially be a...
yeah,
Hey
so
look, there's a
they'll-
thing over there!
Yeah, they'll
Ooh.
attack it and then
That's
you can-
quite cool.
yeah.
That is worth knowing. I wish you'd told me that earlier when I've been surrounded by enemies.
I tried to tell you at the time when you first got the bomb, and then I got distracted.
You said it can be used against enemies, but I thought you just meant it for damage, not as a distraction.
Well, yeah.
Certainly, yeah, there was a hell of a fight going on while you were talking about Gentleman Jack.
Sorry.
There was a very big fight where it tested me against basically every enemy I've encountered so far simultaneously. If it helps, I wasn't hugely paying attention either, but I seem to do it fine on automatic. That's kind of what I like about this game. It's a relatively easy game to play on automatic,
That's
which
good.
is most of what I've been doing, because at this point I'm 3 double whiskeys down, so I need to be able to do stuff without thinking too hard about it, quite frankly.
I mean, you say whiskey, it's Fireball.
Yeah, but it's still 33%. It is. Are you checking the bottle, you fuckhead? You
Yes.
don't trust me.
No.
That's probably fair, but still, fuck you.
It's for some reason everyone loves to tell me that Cointreau is like 30%, and I'm like, nope, it's 40.
Most spirits are.
But everyone thinks it's one of those gentle liqueurs like your Fireball, and it's like,
The Fireball's not a gentle liqueur. It's 33%, which is the same as a lot of bourbons and a lot of whiskies, like actual whiskies.
not actual whiskeys. They
Yeah.
should be 35 or 40.
Many of them are 35, which is not much different from 33. I bet you would not tell the difference between 2 drams of 33 and 2 of 35. Oh, I can't. Didn't block that in time, did I?
We don't use that word.
I do. Oh, good. Done him in.
Well done. Come on, Hatter, you're better than this.
Can't make a bubble forever. Ready? Follow me.
Oh, these are all Omega symbols. Slash Mirror of Venus. Yeah, the female symbol.
Kind of.
They kind of look like that mixed with an Omega on the top.
Yeah.
This feels like an earthquake. What's happening?
I really look like I know. Your judgment must be severely impaired.
That's me.
I think the game's telling me to go up there. Spoing. Ooh.
Handy, they're giving you some healing.
Yes. When you say handy, you mean they're strongly hinting at what comes next. I've nearly got enough to level up. I think it's the pepper again.
Is that what you're going for?
The pepper. Yeah,
Pepper.
first. Peter Piper. Picked
Leper
it.
Nepper.
What?
I have no idea.
Good.
I said it and then it occurred to me it sounded really bad.
Oh, that looked like it was going to be a clockwork thing, but it's not, so there must be a switch for that somewhere.
You're a switch.
Oh, there it is.
I quite like the pepper grinder.
It's an interesting way of doing a ranged weapon. It's certainly better. I like the fact it overheats. It's certainly better than Darksider's ranged weapon, which is a similar kind of aiming style and rate of fire to that. It never overheats, but it's also just crap. It just takes ages to do any damage to anything, because it's unlimited ammo and decent rate of fire. Or at least this is more hard hitting, but you have to think about it a bit more because it's got the...
Overheat.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of like Mass Effect.
First Mass Effect, certainly.
Yes.
Obviously in the second one they introduced thermal clips instead, so you have to reload rather than overheating.
Yes.
I like the small mode gives you hints as well. That's quite a nice way of doing it.
Yes. And it gives you another layer.
Exactly.
And it's in keeping with the source material.
Yeah, I can see that.
I'm trying to look at that symbol and see what you mean.
I'll zoom in on this one up ahead.
Oh yeah, I can see the
The female thing.
yeah.
It definitely looks like it. And that may be deliberate, because it seems to have some ties to Alice, so...
Yeah.
Yes, the Mirror of Venus, it's supposed to be, is the name for that. The female symbol is the Mirror of Venus, the male's is the Shield of Mars.
I always remember it as one is a pointy arrow, so I'm like, that's meant for penetrating.
That's a shield. Like an arm shield type that goes onto your gauntlet.
I mean, then it'd just be a circle.
No, but then it's got the other bits that connects up to the hand. Like an old hoplite shield.
What are they up to?
You'll never stop us, silly Hatter and Alice. It's left. You're
I'm assuming I fight the two, the rat and the mouse. Not the rat,
They are destroyers.
the mouse and
The hair.
Violers, denuders, derangers, delightful,
Did they actually create that infernal train to destroy Wonderland?
What does that matter? They deserve to die. Ah! Put me down this instant. I ought to...
Enough talk. Battle time, Missy.
As ever, Mouse has the best lines.
You got a real liberal definition of best there, though.
That was sarcasm.
I hoped as much.
Abandon false hope. Forget the past. The damage is done.
Let the madness begin. Resume the folly.
I've definitely got to praise the production design in this, or whatever you call that in a game. Like the way the characters look, a lot of effort's clearly been put into that.
The art direction.
Yeah, basically. I really like the look of it. Like both of those two look very cool.
Oh no.
That's what happens if you try and make machines without Hatter.
Oh, my precious domain. And the guests. All I really wanted was another tea party.
Please, Hatter, you promised. Where is
She's
that
changed
train
costume
going?
again.
What's its purpose? Tell me. Now.
There's no time for whatever it is you want to talk about. It's time for tea. Talk trains with Turtle. He ran the Looking Glass line. Come on, you lot. We can still be friends. I got a fine Darjeeling. Drink, drink.
My memories are shattered. I'm trying to collect the pieces, and I now believe the train impedes me. You must help me. You promised.
Ask the one who helps them what helps themselves. Whoever that is. Ah!
Very pithy. He deserved to die. And I'm about to drown in tea, in ignorance.
Was that the end of Hatter? Was that it? Yeah, you keep your conspicuous silence going, love.
I have nothing to say.
Exactly.
Caught me very own river nymph.
Saints be praised that he works in mysterious ways. You got plans for her.
Take her over to the
Probably
lake
hold the
or
recording at that point.
Rent a bed.
Boss fight.
On to woo a girl.
Boss fight. Clever bastard, you.
Do you think you're doing?
What comes natural, like?
Not natural to me. Get away.